Well, the Memphis Police Department's new second lieutenant rank can actually keep their positions for now. The Tennessee Supreme Court issued a stay in the fight over the new rank between MPD and the Memphis Police Association. Now, the union previously asked a judge to hold the city in contempt for not following an order to remove the rank. That order sided with the Memphis Police Association, claiming MPD broke its agreement and created second lieutenant without approval. But with this stay in place, the contempt case is now on hold while the state Supreme Court decides what happens next. So, Scott, I want to take it to you here. The state Supreme Court decision to pause these demotions until they can figure it out. What does that say about the complexity of this lawsuit?
I think it's very complex, and I think I agree with the Supreme Court decision. It's kind of like a temporary tax. It never goes away. So once you give somebody a promotion, it's very hard to take that away. I think the city got themselves in a pickle with the union on this, police union. But I'm glad that we're able to kind of pause, take a deep breath, and really the city needs to come to the table with the union and really try to figure out a way of, okay, we've done this, but how do we get out of this? If it's not in agreement with the memo of understanding, how do we make this? What is the remedy that we need to do to make this right? But we can't penalize the officers who have been given a promotion.
Yeah, most definitely. I do agree with that. And I want to ask you, too, as far as simplifying it, because I was trying to read through it myself, and it was really hard to kind of understand. So simplifying the second lieutenant rank for me and for our viewers to kind of understand the difference between first lieutenant and second. Why was it even created in the first place?
You know, I'm not really sure, other than it's, probably pay is involved. It's more responsibility to be a lieutenant. Maybe there were people, who were ready for a promotion, but maybe they weren't quite ready to move all the way up to lieutenant. But I think the city failed in not really working with the police union to try to sort this out and come up with an agreement before enacting it.
Most definitely. And Otis, that brings me to you then. Why didn't the city go through the normal process of consulting with the union?
They should have. Plain and simple, they should have. That's why we have collective bargaining here. You have to sit down and talk to the people involved in this. And not just make it an arbitrary decision. That's one of the things that has the police department, and it's not just the police department. You have other areas of the city, fire department too, where they think that the city just does not talk to them enough. And to Scott's point about another issue here, I think the city was saying that they needed these second lieutenants to expand supervision of the rank and file police officers in order to sort of keep the Justice Department from coming back at them the way they did a couple of years ago. Of course, with this Justice Department, they don't care about any of this stuff. But the bottom line is the city should have been talking to the Police Association to get buy-in, to have some understanding here before they did this, because morale is already an issue with the police department. People are leaving. They don't have the complement of officers that they want and need. And so the city needs to do a better job.
Morale is a big question here because, like you said, Scott, it is hard to take away a promotion once you give it. So Milton, just your thoughts on how this might impact morale or recruitment even.
Yeah, first I want to say kudos and shout out to all the Memphis police officers who work day in and day out to keep us safe, right? And I would hate to see any of them receive a demotion or less pay because of the situation. But I do want to go back to speak more on the intent, right? And so I think intent in terms of more staff, more oversight, and right now at the DMC, I'm currently hiring somebody in my department because I need some additional execution and oversight and help, right? And so every organization, when you come to a point where you do need more support and more help, you go after that. that. And so that's what I see maybe what the city was trying to accomplish. Now I guess we'll have to see what the courts decide and what the legal documents say in terms of were they well within their right or not. But I can see from a staffing standpoint the city of Memphis, as you look back at what they publicly said about their intent, over the past few years, we had people that, citizens of Memphis that were calling for oversight and more police oversight, right? So that's something that that we have to give the city credit for attempting to accomplish that, because that was something that the citizens of Memphis have said that they wanted. And so I think this was in that attempt. So when we try to do good, sometimes things happen, right? There's always, to every action, there's always something else that may take place. So I think that's what may have happened here.
Yeah. I'd like to add, even if the court decides in favor of the city, I don't think that's the end. I think the city still has an issue with the union, and they need to still come together and work out their differences.
Yeah, my next question was just, what is the relationship going to be like moving forward between the union and leadership with the Memphis Police Department? I mean, but to your point, you pretty much answered that. But I do hope that as far as the officers, how do they look to their department heads, and also to the association union? How do they deal with this?
Well, again, I think rank and file police officers feel, and I've talked to a few, they feel that they have been sort of beat up on for quite a while here. They took a huge beating over and I don't mean that literally, but they took a lot of criticism collectively after the Tyree Nichols case and all the other things that happened in the last 4 or 5 years with policing everywhere, not just in Memphis. So the police staff, the rank and file, they sort of feel like they're dumped on a lot. And I agree with Milton. Kudos to those who are out there trying to keep us safe. And nobody wants to dump on them. That's why it's imperative that the city and the police union work together to make progress in the city.
And I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the whole firefighters lawsuit going on as well, when we're talking about the city once again not really coming up on their end or going around and making decisions without consulting their own employees. So, I guess I'm looking at you, Scott. Because,
Yeah, as a former city councilor.
The one thing in politics is your word is your bond. It's what defines you. And when the city gave their word to the firefighters, the 5% raise, they needed to stick to that. If you make that commitment, you've got to live by it. And they should have figured out a way to do it. And to come back and, again, take it away does not sit well with the rank and file. They were counting on that. The city, and I think it was a previous council that actually did that for the current council, but still, it was a commitment that was made, and you can't take that back.
Yeah.
And these people keep us safe, so I want them to be as happy as possible, really. Okay, we'll leave it there. You all did well on that one. I think that was a good conversation. When we come back, speaking of public safety, we're going to tie that into Monday's celebration is 901 Day. If you don't know what it is, stick around. We'll tell you.